How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to do a review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist on the Sega Genesis. One of my all-time favorite Sega Genesis games. An awesome beat 'em up. Let's get into it. Thanks for watching.
They've arrived, ready to leave a whole slew of Sega Genesis buffs totally shell-shocked. They're bodacious, they're Mondo body slamming, and they're back in another action-packed original adventure only from Konami. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in one of the first games from Konami for the Sega Genesis format. Those heroes in a half-shell are slicing and dicing their way to victory in the all-new Hyperstone Heist. Shredder still hasn't lost his taste for turtle soup, and this time he's got a gem of a plot to trap the turtles. It seems he's hoisted the super-powered Hyperstone, which gives him the power to shrink Manhattan in his unyielding quest for total world domination. Take your pick of your favorite turtle and slash your way through 5 lawless levels of lambasting, experiencing the most excellent 3D effects for 1 or 2 players. 4 levels each have 3 treacherous stages to test your survival instinct, while the other is chock full of the most intense challenges either man or reptile has seen. All 4 dynamite dudes boast their own unique battle styles. Blow your enemies away with Donatello's hurricane attack, and really clean up with Raphael's vacuum slice. Navigate your ninjutsu moves through the streets of Manhattan, in the slimy sewers, and even on a ghost ship. Watch out for Leatherhead, Stone Warrior, Rocksteady, Tatsu, and Krang, because they won't be happy to see your half-shell head as they try to stop you in your turtle tracks. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Hyperstone Heist, will have Sega Genesis Turtle fans coming out of their shells and heading into your stores.
So before we get into the review of this awesome game, let's talk about the artwork. And I'm going to tell you guys, just like Turtles in Time, I think the artwork on this is epic. I mean, it is so cool. I mean, look at that. New York City is like miniaturized, and all 4 turtles are huddled around the city. And when I was a kid, this was my original cartridge. This was my original box that I spent my own money on, allowance money on. I would stare at this for hours and just look at it and just be amazed. And it is a little bit darker, it is a little bit grittier, but I thoroughly enjoy it. Now, this is not as good as the Super Nintendo game, Turtles in Time. That has a more epic feel to it and actually kind of explains the story a little bit more in the artwork. This, we have no idea what's going on other than New York City is shrunk down. Okay, guys, let's get right into the review. Let's check it out. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Hyperstone Heist on Sega Genesis. This is a Konami beat-em-up classic. Awesome game. I love this game. And you might already be asking yourself, which one is better? Turtles in Time or Hyperstone Heist? We'll get into that. I'll give you guys my verdict. I'll give you guys my review. And I'll also share with you guys some childhood memories. So Shredder and his gang, they have shrunk down parts of New York City, and he has stole the Hyperstone. And that gives him the ability to shrink and transform. And the Turtles have got to stop him. And this is just some classic beat-em-up gameplay. Classic 90s beat-em-up. And you go through each level and just defeat every single enemy on the screen. And then you have a boss at the end of each level. And it's just the same true tried formula that I love even to this day. You cannot go wrong with a good beat 'em up. And you get to pick between 4 turtles: Leo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael. I usually pick Leonardo or Donatello because of their reach. Raph and Michelangelo, for some reason, I just don't like their reach. I can't get into them. Not the characters, but just their reach and their attacks in the game. And literally, like I said, you go through each level and just beat up the enemies. And there are a few other stages here and there. You might be on a surfboard, and you might be in the sewers and things like that. But there's not a whole lot of variation with the beat 'em up formula here. Now let's get into this game versus Turtles in Time. Well, I absolutely love both. I actually played this game first when I was a kid. I played this game back in the day. I played both games back in the day, and I experienced this one first, then Turtles in Time. And I'm just going to say, guys, that both are excellent games. Both are worth playing. Both are worth having in your collection, especially if you're a Turtles fan, and especially if you are a beat 'em up fan. And just well worth your time. This game is a lot shorter than Turtles in Time. There's only 5 levels, and there's actually a lot of crossover between this game and Turtles in Time. They share some of the same levels, same music, and it's basically the same gameplay. Now, one gripe I would say about Hyperstone Heist that I don't like, never liked as a kid, is when you get towards the end of the game, there's actually a boss, Gauntlet. And even back then, I knew that game developers added those levels in basically to extend the game. Oh man, I already beat these bosses. Why do I have to beat them again? And I hated that. I hated that. Even back then, I was like, man, what is this? This is a waste of time. But aren't all video games a waste of time? And it's just as good, in my opinion, shorter. The music isn't as sharp as the Super Nintendo, or the graphics. They're not as sharp, but very, very similar. They're very colorful. I love the soundtrack, and I do love the bosses. There are a few boss differences here and there, but for the most part, you're playing pretty much the same game, especially the first few levels. And you do fight Shredder at the end, and he's very similar to the one you fight in Turtles in Time. Alright, so let's get into some of my childhood memories with this game. And I did play this one first. I actually had to go out and rent Turtles in Time. Never owned it as a kid. Owned it as an adult collector. And with this game, huge fan of the show, huge fan of the toys, huge fan of the movies. So I was like, oh, I got to get this. And the Sega Genesis was my very first console that was my own. We did have an Atari, we did have a Nintendo, we did have a Super Nintendo, but the Sega was mine. So what I had to do was save up my allowance money, and literally for about 2 months, I wouldn't spend any of my allowance money, I wouldn't rent any games, I wouldn't spend any of it on toys, nothing. So I had to show some discipline. So I told my mom and dad, I was like, hey, I have enough money. Let's go to Walmart right now. Let's go to the video game section. I am buying this game today. And I still have that game in my collection as we speak. And that's one of the games I'll probably never, ever, ever get rid of. I don't care. I don't care how much it's going for, which it's not worth that much. I think complete in box, it's like $60 or so. So anyway, monetary value to me, this game is not worth it. It's the sentimental, playing with my buddies, playing with my brother, and just playing through the game. I have probably beaten this game over 100 times, easily. Back then, you didn't have a whole lot of choices. Back then, you had to play what you had and just be happy with it. And I played through this game, mastered this game. Not very hard, not very difficult, just right for a kid. I'll say that. And it is a tad easier than, I would say, Turtles in Time. But that's not a bad thing, necessarily. And I highly recommend this game. It is worth playing today. 100%. I understand some of you guys might like Turtles in Time, the setting, going back in time and all that. And you might like a longer game. I get that. And you might like better graphics, you might like better sound, but hey, it's still a great game. Why just pick one? Get both. Get both. They're still pretty affordable for both of them. And why pick a side? Why pick a side? I don't know. I own both now, and I love both. And it would be hard for me to say put one down and not play the other anymore. So yes, I highly recommend it. What's your all's favorite turtle game of all time? Do you think that this turtle game is better than the Super Nintendo game, or the other way around? Which one is your favorite? Most people that I talk to say Turtles in Time is their absolute favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game of all time. And I actually would say this and Turtles in Time tie for my favorite TMNT game. Also, I reviewed Turtles in Time earlier this year, and I asked you all, are there any other games that I should be playing in the Turtles series, in the Turtles universe, on any system? I do plan on actually reviewing all 3 of the NES games, and also all 3 of the fighting games, the tournament fighter games, the one on the NES, the Sega, and the Super Nintendo. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to get that out on my channel this year. And yeah, guys, I love Turtles. I love the toys. Absolutely love the original cartoon. And I actually got into the comics much later in life. And guys, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. These reviews are a lot of fun. And I hope you enjoy the little bumper clips I put together, the commercials, the ads, and even the commercials for the toys. So let me know what you guys think of this game, and is it worth it to play today? Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day. So that's going to wrap it up for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist. Really recommend this game. If you own a Sega Genesis, go out of your way to try to track this one down. I have a complete in box. I've had a complete in box since I was a kid, for crying out loud. And it goes anywhere from 30 to 40 bucks loose. Complete in box, maybe around 60. So it's not too expensive, and it is a good comparison to Turtles in Time. Not as good, in my opinion, because of the setting and the story, but hey, still a great game, still a lot of fun. You and a buddy can play it and just have a blast with it. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.
This is not cool. Oh, yes, it is. Shredder has frozen the sewers and is using the wacky action wind-up sludge mobile to pull a snow job on Donatello. He's gonna blast him with the yellow snowball launcher.
There's a head on your tail, Shredder.
Yes, here comes the toilet taxi hauling Shell. Leonardo plunges ahead on Shredder's behind. Shredder looks back just as his sludge-mobile hits a pipe and wipes out.
Whoa, straight flush.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
From Playmates.